Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain J. And tonight we have an extra special treat for you. Here with me, as always, is Numbskull, my co-host for the Black Council podcast. And we have our very first on the council, our very first streamer / content creator interview and profile that we have on here, MaxDamage9999. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast,
hello.
Max Damage. Would you prefer we just call you Max, or would you prefer we say the whole thing, Max Damage 9999, every time we're addressing you?
Most of the people in my Discord and my community could just call me Max, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's excellent. You can call me His Infernal Majesty, J Villain the First. First of his name, by the grace of the Dark Lord. That'd be good. And you can call Numbskull. That's pretty accurate. Numbskull, I'm gonna throw it over to you, man. Give us a little intro.
Guys, so thank you all for being here again. We are like really running with this thing with the podcast and super excited to have our first guest in Max Damage. He's a friend of both Jay and mine. He's a friend of both of our channels. We have similar viewers in general, so we're very excited to have him on the show. Before we go into any of that, though, we do want to thank our patrons. Thank you all for being here. We actually hit our mark. We hit our first goal on Patreon.
We sure did. We hit the 10 member goal.
Yeah, super exciting. The Discord is live for patrons now. We have, I think, 5 of them joined, so we're waiting on.
We're actually at 7 now.
Oh, we're at 7?
Yeah, I believe we're at 7.
Okay, sweet.
And
well, I know it's 7. It's 7, including you and me.
Okay, yeah. It's 5 of the members. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so 5 members. We're waiting on 5 more. I mean, maybe not all.
Maybe they don't want to join Discord. Who knows?
Yeah, and of course it's optional. We're not gonna.
No, it's mandatory. You have to, or we're gonna cancel.
We're gonna hack your computer and put you in this damn Discord.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thank you to our patrons as always. We have hit the first milestone. We're going to work towards the second, and we're going to try to keep this going. Thank you to Paradabo, the Blood Chief, Clever, Dan Tech, Ulf Beer, War Minds, Iceman, Nick G, Cassius, and Ghastly. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. We had 3 new patrons in Nick G, Cassius, and Ghastly as well. So very happy about that. Very happy to have you guys. Welcome to the council. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the council itself, we do have Max Damage 9999, our first guest on the council, an awesome streamer that Jay and I both like to watch, and overall cool guy, very chill stream, really cool overlays and stuff like that. It's always fun to watch Max's stream. So we'll pass it over to Max, let him introduce himself, and just kind of brief introduction. What got you into Magic, and what got you into making content, all things of that nature.
Oh yeah, thank you. Hello. I'm Max Damage all 9s. But yeah, I all my overlay work, all my editing. I have a wonderful editor, my wife, who does a lot of that work for me. And what really got me into streaming in the first place, we started. Actually, I was for this podcast, I was looking back and seeing when on Twitch, what the first stream summary was. So when my first exact date was, and it was crazy looking back at that. But April 15th, 2021 was my very first stream, and it was Magic the Gathering Arena.
Very nice.
And 2 viewers. Right?
I'll start somewhere.
Small beginning.
Hey, that's how it was.
But the one guy that was there became my moderator and my very first subscriber, and he's still on every single stream he comes out, so it's cool. We have a small community. I have a Discord server, the Damage Den, and I try to promote other small streamers really in the variety gaming space. I do a lot of the Magic the Gathering arena streaming. We have a couple of other arena streamers in there, but in my community it's half variety, half Magic the Gathering arena. So my content creation has been geared towards a little bit of variety in addition to arena. But arena's become the majority of what I do. And I think one of the things that attracted me to arena in the first place is, first of all, my background in Magic the Gathering. My first set Oh God, doing the research for this and looking at the dates and stuff, it was crazy. It brought back so many memories. But I started playing like collectible comic book shop, trading card game store Magic in 2003 with 8th edition and Legions. Legions was what was out at the time.
Okay. I love Legions.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy thinking about that because I don't remember anything from those sets. What I do remember from those early days was just like losing a lot of matches in Friday nights and like just like not ever really getting Magic the Gathering like competitive play. I didn't really understand the competitive portion of the game when I was young at all. So what attracts me to Arena is just the ability to play and like basically simulate like hundreds of matches so quickly, to gather data, to be able to really gather an idea of what the meta is just from a small sample of games, and also being able to play like any deck you can find, any deck that you can imagine. There's so much more accessibility to cards in Arena. So I took that, and I've always had, since my early days, a chip on my shoulder when it comes to like competitive play. Like I lost a lot of matches to people who when I was young, when I was in like high school and stuff and middle school, like the rich kids, right? Like they had, back then it was early internet, so like they had the deck lists, they could go out and buy the singles, and they had all the cards, right? And like I had to pull from boosters. It was rough. But so like Arena, being able to have like 98% of a set within a few weeks of its release, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
The accessibility. So I've been able to just like build my dream decks and play as competitively as I want now as an adult, and it's been amazing. So we've been streaming Arena for a year, and I started in Ikoria. I came back, every Magic the Gathering veteran player has this story where they like leave and come back.
Of course.
Usually like 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
For sure. And I did that, and I came back to it in Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. And I remember like I had a buddy who told me about it because he was into Godzilla, and they had like the Godzilla alternate art cards. And I think this was when Hasbro was really starting to like market
do the crossover stuff.
Yeah, like the crossover. And at the time, the marketing was aimed at like getting in new players and getting in other fandoms interested in Magic, visibility in that regard. So they got me that way. They got me back into the game that way. And I was into collecting the paper Magic cards. And so I bought like booster boxes for like 2 or 3 sets after that, like up to call time, I think. And I just realized like, man, this is an expensive hobby. Like it has become way more expensive than when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
To collect paper Magic cards, right? And it's like, so I went back to Arena, and I just, being able to play anything, do anything, play in tournaments digitally now, has been just huge for me. And so that's what I want to focus my content around. And my goal in being an MTG content creator is really to try to raise the bar on like competitive play overall. You'll see me sometimes calling people out or like talking smack, and it's all in good fun. I really want to focus around like competitive / fun play.
So what format do you mostly play in Arena?
So we were doing just strictly standard best of 1 for the first like 8 months of my streaming career. And I think partially that was because that's what was out there. That's what I saw when I looked at YouTube channels for Magic the Gathering. I mean, it's no secret. Like everybody watched CGB for a minute there, and that's who I watched. Him and Hello Good Game, and Mono Black Magic, making really jank lists. So those guys really inspired me to like go after the most competitive, most direct way to show off Magic deck building skills, and that was standard best of 1 for a long time. And it wasn't until maybe like 4 months ago that I started to venture into Explorer, into Alchemy. The whole time playing Historic, but really only using Historic to play like Slivers and Phyrexians and like jank lists.
Yeah.
Really fun tribal stuff. But as far as like competitive stuff, really all formats now. And I tend to focus around like best of 3 standard, traditional, because my goal eventually is to become better at like tournament play.
Okay. So you generally play in ranked then, if you're doing
Yeah, I'll
competitive.
test in ranked. I don't test in like the play queue if I
Okay.
can help it.
Yeah.
Unless I'm playing like somebody else's list from my Discord.
Okay. Do you ever? How do you feel? And this is going to be an important question. How do you feel about alchemy?
I knew you were gonna ask.
Oh wow. I have mixed feelings, right?
I have my
lot of
finger on the
people have
ban
mixed
button right now, the kick button.
Right.
It's a very critical
I have
question.
mixed feelings, right? Like, it's I see the potential. I think the execution could be better.
That's fair
think
enough.
that's-
Yeah.
That's completely fair. Yeah, that's a really concise way to put that. How I feel like that's how like a lot of people feel about it. You know.
Yeah.
And although I will say that alchemy is my favorite format, I completely agree with that statement. Still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel
Format
that.
that lets me play
Definitely.
Blood Artist with mostly standard cards. It's like that's what I like. But I still see them pushing certain things that I don't think should be pushed in alchemy. I don't think that's why alchemy was created, and I still see them, letting things go that are supposed to be rebalanced, and they're not getting rebalanced for months on end when it's supposed to be a format with like a rolling rebalancing. So, those are my main issues with it. Which
That's
I
exactly
still-
why I think the execution could be better.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that it does turn people away. So I think that's totally fair. I think a lot of people would agree with you.
That's a good question. You need to ask that to everybody.
Oh yeah. No, that's going to be the litmus test.
I like that.
So yeah, I think that the promise of alchemy is very good. I think that it was executed. I think they rolled it out kind of bad. But I also have a vast conspiracy that I believe there was an assassination plot set up for it. There was certain streamers and YouTubers who hated it from the outset and basically did everything they could to see that it failed.
I believe that.
They had a vested interest in not letting a new format come in. Essentially, is kind of what my 2 cents is.
Yeah, and this
Bunch of
spills
boomers.
over into another conversation regarding like EDH.
Yeah.
How they've had to be so forceful in making that a format is because MTG based players and old heads don't like new formats.
Yeah.
They don't like reasons for Wizards to make a lot of extra supplemental stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, the
EDH
tragedy
been
of
very pushed.
I personally here's the funny thing, and I'll tell you a little about me. I'm an old head when it comes to Magic, like old. Well, like I started in '94. I got revised cards in my collection. I still use revised
That's
lands.
awesome.
Like I've been doing this a long time, and I don't really much care for Commander, and I thought Alchemy was great. So I don't know where that puts me in a very small minority.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a tiny.
Yeah,
tiny
there's
Venn
like
diagram picture.
me and maybe one other guy who I've never met. So and I don't, like I said, I don't really know where that puts me. Something about the format of EDH, I just for some reason can't get my head around it. And when it came in, all my friends, my whole play group, the LGS, everybody swept into Commander. They were playing Commander like crazy and just, oh, you got to get your Commander together. Can we get our Commander? Da, 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 da. And it was I didn't understand it. I just didn't really care for it. And I finally broke, and I broke down. They got me with another hook, like you said. They got you with Godzilla. The Necrons mono black with Sarakin, the Silent King. I bought it.
Oh man.
And I have it ordered for the second printing. I said, all right, listen, if they're gonna do a pre-made that's a mono black, number one, and it's Necrons from 40K, which I love. I'm a big 40K fan. Fine. You know what? I'll buy in. They're the scalpers were selling them for $100, but there's another printing coming, so I just ordered it for about 50. And I said, okay,
Nice.
for an EDH deck, first time buy-in, I'll try it. I'll try it on Spell Table, whatever. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Now I've played.
I had a
Oh, continue now.
I was just gonna say I had someone saying they ordered the same pre-con, but they live in Germany, so I think they said it was 65 for them.
Yeah, it was about 55 on Amazon, and it won't ship for like
Okay.
2 weeks because apparently it's in printing. But it actually let you buy it, which was the amazing part. It said you can purchase it and it'll ship November 10th or something like that.
Nice.
Which is fine. I'll make content out of it. I'll open it up. I'm not going to collect it. And it's probably the first. Oh yeah.
Commander has done so much for. I'll say this, like in my pros and cons. The pro, right, is it's done so much for accessibility and visibility of the game. Like it's brought in a ton of people, and like it's a singleton format, so it's much easier to deck build, in my opinion. And so like it's great. You know, anybody can kind of join in and get help with building the list. But the cons, it's like I don't understand this mentality about like not wanting to win or win too hard. And I can't flex in it. That's not fun to me.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's like this argument.
There's etiquette.
In EDH communities, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. There's etiquette, and it's like, hey, I have an infinite combo in this deck. And like if you don't tell people that beforehand and you combo off in the game, they won't play with you again. A lot of
Or they'll bully you, like they'll gang up on you and make sure
they'll gang up on you and try to kill you first. Even if it kills them faster, they'll kill you first.
So there's a certain amount of decorum when it comes to EDH then.
Yeah, and it's weird because every group is different. So you have to like ask all these questions about like what you can and can't play. But it's like, well, hey, I might only have one commander deck, so what if I just only have this and like nobody wants to play with me now? Because if I had a commander deck, it wouldn't be to play nice. So
yeah, it's not just about like playing a deck, it's about playing a deck and politics.
There are some politics. Yeah, you have to like convince other people that they should attack this person instead of you, and try to trick them into not coming at you or to go at someone else that you're secretly trying to take out faster.
Which is cool.
So
like I can do that in 4-player Magic, like just regular 4-player free for all Magic or two-headed giant.
Yeah, I've done that before.
And I've played a lot of multiplayer Magic, and probably one of my favorite formats is a bizarre and unknown format called Emperor, also called Caesar back in the day.
Oh wow!
And so it's a 3 versus 3. It's a 6-player 3 versus 3. There are 2 people that are the Emperor. There's 2 people that are the generals, and there's 1 guy that's the Emperor. The game is only over when the Emperor loses. And
like predetermined emperors then?
Yeah, somebody is going to say I'm the Emperor of this game. And so the whole goal is to kill the main person. The generals can lose. You can actually drop out to 2 versus 2, 2 versus 3, or 1 versus 3. And if you can hold your own, you can hold your own, because you can like intercept. I don't know. There's a lot of complicated rules about intercepting creatures and doing other stuff. So there's some crazy formats where you had to strategize and do all kind of nonsense like that, and it's fun, but and that's what like never really got to me about EDH. Like I don't know. There's like this weird. It felt weird. It never really felt exactly like Magic. It felt like something a little bit different and not Magic-y enough, in my opinion. Yeah. I'm not going to say it wasn't real Magic, because it's clearly Magic, but it's a vast departure from what I was used to, and I don't know, maybe it's a bridge too far for me. I don't know.
For me, it with like the modified rules, it almost feels like I have a little brother. It's like sometimes it's like when your mom told you to like not beat your little brother too hard in a video game when they try to play against you, and like make it seem like they have a chance. And I don't know. Not to say that I'm that far ahead of anybody that I play with.
Right.
I don't want to make it seem like that, but in the sense of like, oh well, you have to let me do my combo before you kill everybody. Just little things like that, Where to me it's like, hey, if you lose, you lose. If your deck isn't centered, or if it's not well-rounded enough to deal with other things that are happening, then that's on you, and you can't get mad at other people. You know, you have 100 cards to deal with.
Mhm.
It's like we're eliminating that path
You know?
to like maturity in card games in general by like making that normalized. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have strong feelings about it, but that's just kind of how I feel about it on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable, and I think that there do exist situations where a commander group could have a lot of fun.
Right.
And I don't want to say that every commander group is soft or whatever. I don't want to make it seem like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sure
very
there are commander
competitive,
groups that are like, dude, play whatever you want. I know they have the CEDH, which is the competitive EDH, which is probably what I would play, I guess, if I were gonna make an EDH deck. Because if I was gonna put money into it, I'd probably want it to be like at least a little bit competitive. Because I always say the best way to get better and learn is to get your ass kicked.
Oh yeah.
So
That's exactly my
if I'm
philosophy.
just starting, please kick my ass, and I'm not gonna get mad at you. I'm only gonna
Yeah.
try to get better. Please kick my ass.
That's exactly how you have to be when you're playing like hundreds of matches on Arena. You cannot get upset about one or two. Like you've got to be able to move past it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's I like that concept. Yeah.
I think oddly enough, more than anything, part of the reason I don't like it is I don't really like the singleton format. I hate not having the tools I want at my disposal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It doesn't feel like I'm really deck building to win. It feels like more.
It's more of a dice roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just hoping that you draw the like
the clutch
combo
card,
cards
yeah,
or, like good cards, or
yeah,
and then you obviously have less of a chance to draw it.
Yeah.
Well,
so I heard that in that Necron deck that actually has some valuable cards too.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Like
There's a few of people that are saying there's some good cards in this, generally speaking. Just
people were saying like those, like the cards, if you take all the cards and sell them individually, it's actually worth more than what the deck is, like the full cost of it.
I can believe that. Definitely.
Yeah, so
I can believe
cool.
that.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's in terms of a value thing, you know, which maybe that's why the scalpers are getting away with selling it for $100, you know, because the cards are actually valuable.
Probably, yeah. I would imagine. I think it's just it's mono black, which everyone likes, and Necrons are very cool. I don't know how much 40K you guys watch, but Necrons are just they're robots. They're alien robot Terminators.
I was gonna say if you could explain that one for me and for
so
anybody else who may be watching who doesn't.
40K. Let me turn on the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast music for a second. So the Necrons in 40K. 40K is 40,000 years in the future. It's like science fiction if it took a bunch of steroids and PCP. Like everything is just jacked.
Total War version.
Yeah, everything is just absolutely jacked beyond everything. Like it's things are nutso. They're so beyond normal. They're like parody essentially. So the Necrons are there was these aliens that were getting so much horrible cancer from their radioactive planet that they asked the gods to basically say, can you do anything about our hyper cancer for this crappy star we're on? And the gods were like, Lamau, no, we can't. And they're like, well, then we're going to obviously use our super technology and wage war on you. So they made these metal bodies. They found these other evil gods who would help them, called the Catan. And they said, hey, it'd be really funny as you got rid of your bodies and put your souls under a biotransference, and you took your consciousness and put them into living metal bodies with plasma guns attached to them. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. Well, the reason they did that is so that the evil gods could eat all their souls. So that's obviously what they did. They were left basically soulish but conscious, and now they're just evil space robots. They ended up killing all of their gods. They killed all the old ones. And they were like, well, I guess there's nothing else for us to do. Let's just go to sleep. Let's go to since we're robots, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Eventually, the galaxy will just die out, and we'll rule just by being the only ones left, except for people are now accidentally waking up Necron hive worlds. So the humans or the other aliens would go to a world, and they'd be like, huh, it's weird, this place is weird. And they'd accidentally open up a Necron tomb, and a bunch of alien 100,000-year-old alien robots would march out, probably more than 100,000, probably a million years old, would march out and just start plasma lasering everybody. And they don't talk, and they move really slow. The whole idea is that they were literally Terminators. That's where the movie Terminator, where they just walk real slow and are like dead-eyed and just shoot you. So that's the enemy. So they're just really cool. There's a lot of cool characters in the Necrons. They wrote a lot of fiction about them. So I don't know. Warhammer's a deep, deep hole that we could go down and never get out of.
I would imagine so.
So the Necrons are the ones who killed the gods then? The robots
Yes.
that killed the gods.
They had a, as a matter of fact, I always name check them because I made some angel and demon decks. I called it the War in Heaven when I made the deck, and that's what they called it. When they killed all their gods, because they wouldn't help them not have hypercancer anymore. It says they would like die by the time they were like 40 years old from hypercancer.
Jesus.
And the old ones were like, listen, that's just the way it is. That's how your species is. We're not going to fix it. And they're like, you're going to fix it and give us immortal life. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. And they're like, well, we're going to kill you then. So yeah,
That's a pretty cool story.
it is a good story.
Going out with like a movie or a game for it or something.
There is, they're in some games. If you want to see more about the
books,
this is in books. It's very good. If you want to see more of it, I would definitely look at the game called Warhammer 40K Mechanicus, and the Necrons are the bad guys. You actually are fighting against them. The interesting thing is the humans, because they're so bio-augmented, they're like, it's so far in the future where there's like all kind of crazy technology. The humans are all done in nonsensical chittering, and like you'll hear the humans talk and they just go rah, 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 rah. And the Necrons speak like old-timey English. So they have more, they have like more, they're kind of Egyptian themed. They use a lot of pyramids. They do a lot, they do a lot of stuff with pyramids. They do a lot of stuff with canoptic jars and scarabs. They have a lot of shit like about that. They're kind of like evil pharaohs. There was dynasties. There's like the Soket dynasty and the whatever. There's like these warring old houses of Necrons that are trying to, take over who's going to be the ruler of the Necron Empire, because they literally ruled the entire galaxy and went to sleep. So they just
sounds
left.
That's awesome. That sounds like a Marvel storyline.
It is. It's a very long. That's 40K is really cool. Storylines like that interwoven with really, really complex and deep lore. The commander for that set is Soket. I think. What is he? What is his name? Sarkazan, the Silent King. He was the head of the Necrons. Basically their ruler, their emperor, their Grand Pharaon, as they call them, because they can't use the word pharaoh, so they use the word Pharaon. And the reason he came back and started waking everyone up is the Tyranids, which is actually the Temur or Bant set. They have a Tyranid decks, which are basically the Zerg, if you're familiar with the Zerg from StarCraft.
Yeah.
They're gigantic bug monsters that eat everything. He saw a gigantic fleet of them flying towards the galaxy, and he was floating outside the galaxy to just chill out. He didn't want to be in the galaxy anymore. He was like, oh shit, Tyranids, and he came back and started waking everybody up. So that's
so he's kind of like the good guy.
He's okay. So nobody is good. They're all horrible.
They're all chaotic neutral.
They're all either neutral evil, chaotic evil, or lawful evil. They're all bad. Like, he's trying to stop the Tyranids and wake up his empire, but while doing that, he'll blow up 5 or 6 human worlds with 10 billion people on them. So, he doesn't care. He looks at humans. Humans have been around for how long? And he's like 2 million years old. He's like, I don't care. What is it? Humans had a colony there for 1,000 years? What is that? That's a blink of the eye to me. This doesn't mean anything. So that's kind of his thing. He doesn't care. So he'll do horribly evil acts, but he is, in the grand scheme of things, trying to help the galaxy for the most part. So there's a lot of complexity to all these stories and what's going on.
Damn. No wonder you got hooked into buying a commander deck.
Yeah, so when I had the option to do this, Sakazin, the Silent King. That's what they call him. And what he uses to power himself is on his throne is a shard of the Catan, one of the gods that they killed and imprisoned. That's what he uses to get his power. Is literally just a piece of their god that they broke off, and he's basically using it like a Duracell battery to run his gigantic mecha throne that he attacks people from. So,
Jesus Christ.
I'm looking at the deck list now. It looks pretty sick.
It's good. I mean, I went through it.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh yeah.
If I was gonna get any commander pre-con deck, it would probably be that Necron, or one of these 40k decks. It seems like they're better than your typical like $30 commander deck that you buy at Target. You know?
Oh yeah, no, they're much
considerably better.
They're much better. I think that they're 100% worth it. Yeah, I love the lore and just having those card characters. I wasn't too mad about the universes beyond. Let's talk about that. How do we feel about the universes beyond and the crazy stuff Magic's been doing, combining?
Are you like Unfinity and stuff, or?
Yeah, Unfinity, but specifically the
cards,
Transformer cards. Obviously, you like the Godzilla ones.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They're coming out with the Final Fantasy. I'm a huge Final Fantasy
that's
nerd.
cool.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I dig it. I guess I don't know. You know, I don't play paper Magic as much anymore. I don't collect it as much anymore because it's gotten so expensive.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm watching other people enjoy these franchises. Really.
Yeah, I think the one I was excited for, and I know we're. I mean, it's less than a year away, but technically it's going to be in 2023. Is that Lord of the Rings Alchemy set coming?
That
out
looks
Arena?
like it's going to be good. Yeah,
I am digging that.
I think that's going to be good.
If they transfer some of this stuff to Alchemy, I will be really happy. Like, go ahead.
I think it's cool to intertwine that stuff. I think that'll be fun. It's cool to bring it to Arena, and I like that it's something that I'm a little bit more familiar with in Lord of the Rings. I don't watch a lot of Transformers. I didn't really know about 40K, but I feel like everybody knows about Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's
You know what I mean?
just so
Like,
huge.
I feel like people who don't even play Magic know more about Lord of the Rings than they would Magic. So that's probably like another good way to get people into the game, which that's what the goal of that stuff is. But I think that's your home run right there.
At this point, they could release Cyberpunk 2077 and it'd be a home run.
Oh,
like,
dude. Yeah, that's true.
You know, I'm surprised they didn't with the Neon Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like we had some Cyberpunk vibes in that set, and they could have, I feel like, taken that a step further. And I mean, what they did the Kamigawa alchemy cards, but they were just kind of meh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those alchemy cards were pretty bland, I would say.
They did better with the new Capenna, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did. But that could have been their opportunity to kind of spice it up, but I don't know. I guess they didn't want to.
Baldur's Gate was a great set release, but it got sandwiched and like it was like during a time where it was like one set release and then right there another one. So it was like it didn't have its time.
Yeah. I think it was good for drafting, and then outside of that, felt like it didn't really get its chance to be showcased properly. And then you had the whole thing about people being like, "Oh my god, these cards have too much text." You're stupid if you think I'm reading all that, and this and that, and then just
that's so silly, right? Like people on Arena who don't read cards. This is crazy to me. But I catch people sleeping all the time.
I would say read the cards, man. But I will say the one thing, there was a way, like, I think it was with specializing, there was a way that they could have made the interface better on Arena, in the sense of, I think that they made it hard to like see what all the options were to specialize in a way, if that makes sense. I agree. Like, people didn't know how to like okay, you drop the card, I accept this at face value, but then like And you can make it the argument that it's on the player or the opponent to figure out how to do it. If they don't figure it out, it's on them, because you can do it, but like it felt like you had to do a little bit more than you wanted to do that. You know what I mean? So with all the specializing stuff, and then like the Hourglass Coven, with like they all look the same, but they all have different text. That was a little frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
That was frustrating.
It's a lot to keep track of. You know what I mean? So, and that's where we say the implementation of alchemy in general could be better, but it's, I mean, what? They're like a year in now, still less than a year in. I think it was like November of last year it came out. So,
that's true.
Still less than a year in. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll give them some time. Maybe they'll get it together. I know they're worried about other things. Worried about Worlds. Worried about the 30-year anniversary. They're worried about Vegas. Worried about Brothers War, obviously. So they have a lot. I don't want to like give them excuses, but I know that I'm just saying that they probably have other higher priorities on things that are making them more money right now.
Yo, that good segue, because I wanna ask y'all something.
Here, I want to know it.
How do you feel about, like, obviously there was the failure of Rivals League, but how do you feel about the tournament scene among like MTG content creators right now? Because I feel like there's a huge potential there. There's like a vacuum there that needs to be filled.
Well, what was unfortunate to me was they were giving maybe 6 to 8 months ago, they were doing Pro Tour invites on these arena tournaments, and small to medium content creators were able to host tournaments that had Pro Tour invites. And now I don't think you can get, other than like MTGO, I don't think that any of the or playing on Arena, you can't get Pro Tour invites from like MTG Melee tournaments online anymore. So that's kind of unfortunate, and I think that it like discouraged a lot of people, and you see like less prizes now because less people are entering them, because they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to go to my LGS and do the RCQ. I'm going to do this on MTGO. I'm just going to do the monthly arena qualifier instead now. I think that it kind of limited our options, and in turn, it kind of limited the competition, because I mean, I used to watch, the Pizza Box tournaments, and I do think that there would be like more people back when they were allowing Pro Tour invites. I think the Pizza Box tournament still does really well. You know what I mean? But like, you would get like, like some like crazy like that. That was like the tournament, and I think it still is like the biggest one, but it definitely made it like even better. You know what I mean? So I do like Pizza Box. I think that's like Pizza Box is probably my favorite like weekly tournament to watch. I wish they would give them back those Pro Tour invites though, because it made it like that. It just made the stakes higher.
Well, I think that obviously what we're looking at, in my opinion, it goes into something a little different, is that Magic right now has awful community outreach. They just they're just not interested. You know what I mean? They're just not interested. They could be doing so much. The community online is really thirsty for some content. They want to see stuff. They like to see tournaments. They like to see creator support. I mean, they like to see a lot of different things, but right now they're just, if you look at it, they just don't really have too much for, if you're like a new content creator or you're trying to do something. Hey, can I get a code to give away even? Can I get a 6-pack code to give away? And get a sanction on it or something like that, or say that this is, a sponsored. Can I get anything, They just aren't interested. It's not a priority to them. And I think that is kind of a shame, because they're squandering a huge resource when it comes to online creators. There are some creators that they focus on, but everyone else is kind of locked out in the cold. But even if even if certain people have a big piece of the pie, they don't have the whole pie. There's still a lot of people out there that aren't watching them, that don't want to watch the biggest guy or, the second biggest guy or whatever. They want something new or fresh, because honestly, that person can only put out so much content or whatever. There can only be so many people there. The scene is big enough where they could be doing anything. You know, they could be running a lot of different leagues. They could be running competitive. They could be running, you know, like you said, rivals leagues. They could be doing all kind of fun stuff, you know, and helping support and build the community. Listen, everybody knows engagement, social media, that's what drives consumers now. It's not just,
It's true.
It's about the community around the game itself. It's not just the raw game. It's about the subreddit and the Twitter sphere and what people are posting and the fan artists and every other aspect of the community. It's not just the nuts and bolts mechanics. And kind of by not supporting that, I think that they're missing out on being... Listen, what I always say, Magic Cards is the original competitive card game. There wasn't... This is it. This is the OG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I can speak to that. I started as Pokemon TCG as a middle schooler, and growing up in the comic book environment meant growing into playing Magic the Gathering with the older kids, right? Like that was a natural evolution for us.
That was the big leagues. That was you know, that was the game. You could even say it was the original loot box. As it's been said, because you used to buy a pack and it said, hey, what are you going to get? You never know. At least you got something tangible and just not a cosmetic in there. But,
oh my God, I used to buy this magazine that was $5. What was it? I think it was called like Top Deck or something like that.
Oh,
yeah. Well, my first Magic pack was before I even cared about Magic. It was Mercadian Masks from just like buying this magazine.
Jay, I kind of agree with what you were saying about the community thing. Kind of feels like, you know, they do this like weekly Twitch stream, Wizards does, and it feels like, I mean, I don't know like what kind of job you guys have, but it just feels like your like weekly or bi-weekly email from the CEO that makes it like they try to make you feel like they give a shit, and obviously they don't.
Yeah,
it's very corporatized. It's very politically charged. Like, well, charged in the sense of like you try not to go too far with anything, and you try to make it look like you want to please everybody.
They're tiptoeing,
doing anything. Yeah, you're tiptoeing.
A lot of corporate speak.
Yeah, exactly. You're dancing around the actual issues, not really resolving anything. This and that. It just seems like one of those kind of like it almost like it's some kind of town hall meeting. And you know, just I don't know. It feels very corporatized, almost like they're, you know, politicians who aren't getting anything done.
When you ask a question, they go, "That is an amazing question. We really hear you, and we're working really hard. We're endeavoring to change and understand a conclusion." Yeah, you have to have your hands together with that. You have to put your hands. Is exactly what Max is doing.
Yeah,
we are working.
Look forward to working with.
We're working with a team, and we're going to resolve this issue to the best of our ability, and that meets our core standards and values. And that's not an answer. That's nothing. You might as well just say.
Yeah. I mean, it's really in our hands, isn't it? Like, it's in small streamers, it's really in our hands. I was trying to identify a vacuum. I think that you've also talked about today is the vacuum of tournament play. People want to see competitive content between people they know, between fan bases. Like, we want that. There's a need for that. And so it's up to us to kind of like just make that content, I guess, and make it relevant. If Wizards doesn't see it as relevant, doesn't want to support it officially, we just need to create like a desire for that.
So we gotta see it. What you're saying is we gotta start the underground Magic scene.
I think so.
We gotta start the punk underground rebel Magic scene.
I mean, right? It's that kind of energy right now. That's what's in the air of our culture right now. Is that sort of like feel like that sort of like cyberpunk rebellious kind of feel. Like,
I agree. We'll probably have to. I mean, listen, we'll do something with the Black Council. Then we'll do a tourney. You know, we'll get some small.
I think you should. I think you'd be smart to do that kind of sponsoring.
I've wanted to do a lot of more stuff. I wanted to do the under 10K stuff. If you're under 10K, you know, on YouTube or under 1,000 or 2K on Twitch, get a lot of the small guys because they all have niche. Listen, the small guys all have little niche communities, and I've never felt like the space is so small that everybody can't thrive. I've always felt like it's everybody can give each other a hand up. I don't think that there is. I don't think that it's so crowded that Magic cards is so expansive. There's so many different ways to build and to play in so many formats. I don't think you're ever going to crowd out the space unless it gets to be like ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And something that got pointed out to me a long time ago, I still believe to this day, and one of the reasons I started streaming Magic is because I believe we're in a unique gaming space where it's not zero sum. Like, my fans are watching you guys. You guys as fans are watching my, like, it's interesting. We share fan bases, so we can actually cross promote each other and actually mutually benefit from that a lot.
Of course.
And there's a simple thing also. We have people who watch us from more than just the United States, which obviously has multiple time zones. And then taking that one step further, nobody can stream 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You would die. In a couple weeks before you physically couldn't do it.
I think only Jerma can. I think he can.
Jerma, okay, fair enough. So nobody can do that, which means there's always going to be like somebody else that you want to watch if you want to watch somebody.
Of course.
Even if I'm your favorite streamer, Jay's your favorite streamer, or Max is your favorite streamer, there's always going to be like somebody else to watch. So there's not like, I don't think anybody gets on Twitch. It's like, this is the only streamer that I watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no, I mean, there might be guys who, maybe some guys who watch those hot tub streams, there's just one.
They're not there for Magic.
In regards to Magic, I don't think that there's anybody who gets on there. I mean, there probably is. There's probably like a couple people, but like 99% of people don't get on. Yeah, 99% don't get on Twitch just to watch one person.
Generally,
it's more of a volume thing for that. Like you said, it's not zero sum.
And I think that part of it also is just the enjoyment and the community enjoyment and the familiar faces of what we're doing overall, because I've had so many people tell me, it's like, I don't even play Arena that much anymore, but I like watching you play it and bullshitting around. That's fun for me.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I have people who are like, I don't have all these cards, but it's nice to watch you try out decks that I wouldn't otherwise be able to play. It's nice to be able to watch them do it,
I've found so much success marketing my channel that way, as I'll play all these decks for you. You can see me crash and burn with them, so you don't have to spend your wild cards and go and do that.
You can choose,
right?
You can, I'll waste my money so you don't have to. We'll walk so you can run.
It's like Fry said, don't worry about wasting my time. My time is worthless.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good aspect of it. And I always, on top of that, on streaming is, because people are like, oh, people watch people play video games. That's silly. I'm like, millions of people watch people play baseball and football. You can go buy a football and go play football in your front yard if you want. You can go play baseball at the park. But you're not as good as it as those guys. You're not as good.
Yeah.
You're not going to be doing it on the level that they're at, and you're not going to be doing it on such big of a stage. So, there is something to be said that people just like watching game. Whatever that game is, people just enjoy watching it. There's an audience for it. So,
I think in terms of games, like, because of how transformative and unique Magic can be, and the infinite level of opportunities, like, it's not like watching someone play Call of Duty where it's like, okay, there's like X amount of loadouts you could possibly have,
right?
And the mission is to kill other people and not die, and it's very straightforward, and like, I don't want to say binary, there's more than two things going on, but it's either like kill or be killed in COD in regards to that, where Magic, it's so nuanced that that's what makes you want to watch it, because you're constantly thinking about the nuances of Magic, whereas COD, like, you're just thinking about just like playing it to play it. Where in Magic, you're thinking about like more than just the rules of the game or things like that. There's just always more to it.
The raw, like, try hard personality gets chewed up and spit out in the MTG community. The one who's just like, just play the most efficient deck and that's it. Like, those people get chewed out and ratioed all the time, because Magic is so much more about like so many other things, like playing the best combo, or I'm gonna try to make this really crappy tribal work. Like it's
Listen, I'm more happy with a moonshot that works insane than I am with something that's going to give me a consistent 70%.
Yeah,
I'll take a 50% that goes off like a bomb. You know, I'm more. I get more satisfaction from that than anything.
And I also always thought that, you know, Magic allows people to be expressive too.
Yeah.
With all the you know, we have a favorite. Jay and I have a favorite style. Actually, this is a question I wanted to ask you, Max. What is your like favorite type of deck to play?
Oh, good question.
I know. I saw on Twitter. I know you like the Sultai Ultimatum. I know you like that. But like, you know, you're like your archetype, the one for you. Jay and I like Gain and Drain. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I honestly like curving out with creatures the best. Gruul was the first color set I fell in love with.
Okay.
If I can curve out, I've just recently started to love control and like mid range. Mid range is probably my number one right now, but identity wise, it's curving out with good creatures. So like the rise of Mono Gruul recently, Mono Red and then Gruul, sorry, both of those has been like fun for me. I'm in Mythic right now, just playing Mono Red.
Oh yeah, Mono Red is when I need to rank up. That's what I do. I go, oh man, this deck I built lost me a whole rank. Well, let me just play Mono Red real quick and gain real. All right, rank. Okay, all right, let me try another. Let me try another Jake.
Let me try Esper or Mardu or Naya now. Like
you get crazy volume out of the games because I mean they're so much faster too.
That's true
when you go for that. So. Yeah, it lets you rank faster. Even if you're losing, it doesn't matter. Press play, play. And then just in terms of general odds, you're going to go up as long as the deck's halfway decent. You know?
Yeah. Back in the day, though, like, I think I really fell in love also. It's such a binary for me between that, like, aggro and, like, combo, right? So like one of my favorite cards, this will tell you, back in the day was Phage the Untouchable. But basically like she was Death Touch before Death Touch, but she also had the ability that if she did damage to the player, you won the game. So I loved like cheap win conditions like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those crazy cards. Yeah. There used to be a guy way back when, that's funny, he was called the Wretched. It was like a demon. And you gain control of anybody who was blocking him.
Any creature.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. I still have a mono black zombies list from Scourge and Legion with Undead Warchief. That's probably my favorite tribal of all time was mono black zombies.
Oh my god, I love them. I just did Zombie Apocalypse. I did Sheoldred with zombies.
Oh god,
really good. Phenomenal. Oh, it was fantastic. I think that pushed me not last season, but the season before. That's what pushed me to Mythic.
I remember that Sheoldred with Felstinger.
Sheoldred with Felstinger, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can force draw people. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea is force draw.
What are y'all playing in Alchemy? I've been testing out like dragons, goblins, but Dimir zombies, especially in Alchemy right now.
Dimir zombies is good. I just did a Dimir zombie control. The best Alchemy deck that I have right now is probably my Devils, my mono red Devils, which is like hitting a win button. Yeah.
Are you using the 5-drop Tibalt?
No, I don't use Tibalt. I don't really use Planeswalkers that much. I'm not a big listen. To me, I've been playing since '94. Planeswalkers is a new mechanic still. That still seems like like something that they just came out with.
I get that.
No, I go faster than that. I use the Tiefling. Outcasts, and basically hit low creature spam on Devilish Valet to basically just do a absolute load of trample damage by like round 4. Because or round 4 or round 5, if you can get your what's that called? What's that damn thing called? Burn down the house out, and you have a tiefling outcasts.
It'll buff the.
It'll times it by 3 times, so it'll go to 15. Yeah, it'll go to 6, 12, 6, 12,
And
24. It'll be a 24 trampler
Yeah.
going in.
Yeah.
And it's basically, you can get that, if you're lucky, you can get that at turn 4.
Jesus.
And
It's
that's
pretty quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they're playing any kind of mid-range, they're dead.
Yeah.
You know, so that's that's my rank up. So when I play terrible decks for a week, I go back, I say, all right, let me get these devils in, and they push me back up.
That's awesome.
I
I've been playing
everybody
mono red
knows.
goblins.
Gobos is good too,
Ooh.
yeah. Goblin Conflux is very good.
Good
They added
lord.
those new goblins. Those are sick.
Influx array. Ugh.
Influx away, yeah, that's the one it's
Influx
called.
Array, yeah. I've just been doing the mono black. As
Bang.
per you. Well, technically Orzhov because of the cleaving path of peril, but mono
That's
black.
become your
but-
deck.
Yeah,
Like-
that's just my thing. That's what I use the ladder, but I'm at a point now in the season. I literally play one match a day on ladder. I just get a win real quick, and then it preserves my rank to keep me in top 250. And then I've kind of been just like I've actually been playing some historic the past few days, trying to become more familiar with that. And yeah, that's been interesting. And then there is Eldraine draft right now, so I did a Eldraine draft yesterday. I think you were in the stream last night.
Yeah.
Max. So you know, I did build. I was doing standard for a little bit to practice for the qualifier. Standard was like okay, it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. It's still a fun format for me, but yeah. Mono Black and Alchemy. I did do the dragon thing when that new dragon came out. I tried that Rezug deck too with all the like all the creatures where you sacrifice them and bring them back with Rezug, and then their artifacts. So you can have like Shouldered as an artifact. Things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Just get like crazy value. I did that one. That was cool. I haven't really played it, but a lot of people love that Anvil deck still too.
Rakdos Anvil's not bad.
Deck.
That's yeah. I run that one. I've been putting the braids. Braids goes in that one really well.
Braids is sick, yeah. Braids is like, oh, I'm flooding, cool.
Oh
Suck
yeah,
on my
you're always gonna have fuel for braids.
Every turn.
I wish that braids. The only thing that I wish I had done on braids, I wish you could do more than one.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish I'll sacrifice the whole board if it means ripping you down. I don't care. It'll be nothing left, but there'll just be a braids on the board and you'll be dead. That's fine with me. I'm good with that.
That's that card we were talking about. Strionic Resonator.
Strionic Resonator.
That would let you copy a Braid's triggered ability. I haven't pressed that card in the game in a long time. It'd be 2 mana. You could do the ability again, and then choose new targets. So you could go artifact and land or artifact and creature and this and that. Yeah, it was like baby lithoform engine.
Jesus.
That was back in the day when I played like Ravnica time. That's kind of when I really got into Magic. Like 2013, 2014, I guess it was.
That was
I
my
played
first
when I was a
comeback
kid.
in Magic.
Comeback? Okay, yeah. I played like you guys said, like when you were younger in middle school and stuff. I just didn't really know what I was doing. Like I what was it? Onslaught, I think was my first one. Got my mom to buy
Same.
me
I played during Onslaught.
Onslaught. Yeah, okay, hell yeah. I got my mom to buy me a pre-con deck. Really, I played Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh at school and stuff. I had like no idea what I was doing with the Magic stuff because the rules were so intricate, and I was like 9 years old. So like I didn't really understand it all. But like my brother and I would play it because we thought that the cards looked cool, and we would kind of like try to use like Yu-Gi-Oh rules. You know what I mean? So that was it would be a similar concept, you know. So we didn't understand priority. We didn't really know what instants and sorceries, like when to use them and this and that.
Stack.
Yeah, we didn't know that there was a stack. We didn't know that you could respond to what I did.
Don't worry about it. Listen, that's how I was like 9 years old, and you know, my older cousin taught me how to play, and when I took it to the middle school, we just thought whoever could get the biggest creature down was the best idea. So it didn't matter. I mean, that was the idea of anything else was just, you know, who could get the highest number down.
Oh my god, the power creep in Magic. Remember when like a 3/3 was huge?
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember when a 6/6 trampler, you were like, "Wow, that's the apocalypse, dude."
Oh, we're done.
Oh my god, people would quit. You'd be like a root breaker. You played root breaker worm, man. That's a 6/6 trample, man. There's no stopping that guy. Oh my goodness.
I just remember always thinking, okay, it seems like if you get a 4/4 for 4, that's like good value. And now it's like, okay, but now it needs trample and it needs haste and it needs to fight another creature. Otherwise, it's not good, you know?
Old heads remember Savannah Lion being like, oh my god, that's a 1-drop, that's a 2/1? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, especially in white.
I remember that.
You didn't have any white creatures. They're back in the day, they did not make white creatures with any kind of power. They all had toughness.
They were like a 1/3 for 4.
Yeah, that's what you get, and it would be like Stalwart Knight or something like that, and it would be like a 1/3.
Vigilance.
Yeah, pay 1 white mana and it gets vigilance at the end of turn. It would always have like some sort of tax on it. That was my first when I'd say I got good at Magic. I was like, okay, I got an Assassin's deck, which was all Phyrexian Knights. I don't know why it was called Assassins, but it was Urza Saga. Which is fun to be revisiting it. The Urza's the Brothers War right now, and the Phyrexian invasion and all that stuff. And that's when I built that precon, and that was when I was like 13 or 14, maybe 12 or 13. And I was like, oh man, this is Festering Wound, Eastern Paladin, Western Paladin. Oh my goodness. And that's when I fell in love with Mono Black.
That'll do it. Yeah, that sounds legit.
You're frozen again, Numbskull.
I can see him.
Oh, he's frozen on my screen.
My camera is, I don't know, sometimes it plays games. But yeah, I remember the card that made me love Mono Black was Sanguine Bond.
Okay, well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sanguine Bond, that was like the Ravnica time, Sanguine Bond, and then I didn't know it was a thing, but then I went into the LGS one time and looked at their singles and saw that they had Exquisite Blood, and then that was when I discovered my first infinite combo.
Yeah, and Veto.
And Exquisite Blood.
Don't forget Veto in there.
I love Veto, but it's just that Sanguine Bond was out before Veto.
Oh, okay, yeah, probably. Yeah, Veto was Ixalan, so.
Okay, yeah. So I think Sanguine Bond was, I don't know what set exactly, but it was like around that Ravnica time. You know what I mean?
Probably like Innistrad or something.
I think it might have been like an Innistrad thing, yeah. And then I saw Exquisite Blood was a thing, and I was like, dude, this is my first infinite combo, and I was like, man, I think this is sweet. Because I remember I played with the Ravnica stuff, it'd be Viscopa Guildmage. Guildmage, and then I would just give everything lifelink and get Sanguine Bond out and gain as much life as possible and just end the game, and it was super fun. And then I saw Exquisite Blood, I was like, oh, I can just do it and only do it one time now instead of 20 life. You know what I mean? It's just, so that was pretty sweet. But yeah, that's what made me like really start to love it, was seeing things like that. My first infinite combo, baby's first infinite, as they called it.
Mine was Izzet back in Ravnica and Guild Pact. It was my first infinite combo. It was the gel. God, it was the 3-drop gel that you would tap to do 1 damage, untap every time you played an instant or sorcery, with the Wee Dragonauts and like just a bunch of like really cheap copyable spells. And
so it's kind of like Thermo Alchemist now.
Yeah, kind of like Thermo Alchemist now. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's legit.
Not one of mine, but I'll tell you about one of my friends who I hated playing. Gavin, who shows up on my stream occasionally to badmouth me. Actually, is my best friend. I actually met him playing Magic in the park with one of my other friends. He walked up and was just like, "What are you guys doing?" He was a Magic player too. He played Celestial Mantle. I hated this. He played freaking Celestial. He played Azorius Control with Celestial Mantle and Felidar Sovereign, and would win the game in 1 hit. So,
wow.
So Felidar Sovereign, if you get 40 life, you win, and Celestial Mantle, whenever the enchanted creature deals combat damage, it double your life total.
Oh, you just go
So
from 20 to 40 and then win.
yeah, or whatever, because he's playing mono white. His life total would be crazy anyways, and he'd
He's
play.
already gaining life the whole time. Yeah.
He'd be playing blue, so he'd just be locking everything out and then hit unblockable on it, do something to get it unblockable, and then just
hit you once and that's it.
And hit one. He goes, all right, my life total is blah blah blah. I'm gonna play this and gain life, blah blah blah, and now I'm going from 20 to 40 to win the game. I hated that.
I had that Felidar Sovereign in a Mardu vampire list.
Ooh.
That was my win condition in that list back then.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I wish there was an anti-Fallout Sovereign that was if you've made a player lose a total amount, they lose the game. Doesn't matter what their life total is. If you've made them lose over 40 life in the game, like throughout the whole game, they lose the game immediately. That would be funny.
If that player has lost more than X amount of life, they lose the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Because I know there's some, if like obviously there's cards like if you've gained 5 or more, then you get an angel or this like you know,
yeah,
it would be cool like if you punished a player for losing life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is anybody playing
That'd be
Enduring Angel right now in Standard? Is that a card that you see very often? I've been starting to see that card get a lot of play.
It popped back up. Somebody must have made a deck with it. When I see a card pop up, I say, okay, I gotta go on YouTube and see who was running that. Because I've seen that pop up once or twice. Because used to be, I think I was probably the only person who ever played it. Because I really do like Angels. But yeah, there's a few ones that do it. There's a few of these double strike decks that are doing it, especially against the people that because it gives you hexproof. So people can't play Invoke against you. They can't play Red Burns on you. So there's somebody put it out there. Somebody got it back in the zeitgeist in the meta.
And I think it's a good one of those like it's like a good reanimation target too with like Invoke Justice.
Yeah, it
fits
is.
in those reanimator decks, fits in the Mardu Angel decks. That like you're already gonna like gain the life anyway. But yeah, with how prevalent Invoke Despair got, I think it was just something that was like it was just like a corrective action where it's like the meta reacting to things that are used so much. You know what I mean? It's like something that was eventually gonna make a comeback. A meta correction, if you will.
Yeah, well, water is always gonna find its level. If people are getting hit with a card too frequently, they're gonna figure out counters to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I already see a lot of. I already see mono blue is gonna start getting its comeuppance soon. People are.
Yeah, I hope so.
The cracks in the mono blue wall, I've put them out there. There's a few ways you can do it. There's, I've been dealing with mono blue my whole life, so it's not new to me getting locked out.
It's either, in my opinion right now, it's either go mono red or like Orzhov hand hate. There's probably other ways, I'm sure.
I think there's what's that one guy? It's the flip side of that guy that says you can sacrifice him and counter for 1 blue and counter a spell unless it's
Malevolent Hermit.
Yeah, Malevolent Hermit. Yeah, Benevolent Spirit.
Spells you control can't be countered. So
yeah,
that's like I don't know. If you play it in best of 3, that would be a hell of a sideboard card against that deck. If you happen to also be running blue, which means maybe that's for that deck. It's a good mono blue card. Esper, yeah. I don't play a lot of blue, so like you wouldn't catch me running it, but it would be cool if there were like I don't know, maybe just like more uncounterable spells. You know what I mean? That weren't blue spells.
There's a lot of green.
There's green. Green always
there
counters
are green
that.
Spells, you're right. That's true. So yeah, just like more spells that can't be countered, or just like I don't know. There's like an artifact that was like spells you control can't be countered. That would be crazy.
In my opinion, I'll tell you the secret to short circuit a mono blue. Just don't play anything.
Yeah.
Seriously, just sit there and build mana. That's what people try to do. They try to out aggro them. I'll tell them I won't play. I'll have 5 mana out on the board, and they'll have not played anything either because everything they have is reactive. Then they'll finally say, "Oh shoot, well fine, I'll play my Jhin," and they play their gym, and I say kill, and they go counter. I say kill again. They go counter. I go kill again, and we just try to. And I call that pulling teeth. I'm gonna get all those counters out of your hand one way or the other. Okay, we both got 60 cards in our deck. We're gonna, I'll pull those fangs out. But people try to play head first into the blue sometimes, and you kind of have to short circuit blue players by just saying, I'm not gonna do anything. You do something.
Draw card abilities too, like overwhelming card advantage.
That does help.
Lots of things to counter.
Yeah. That's helpful. And then I think there's two schools of thought. It's like, do I try to make them? Do I bait out the counters early, or do I sit there and sit on them and then I react to them? So I think there's definitely a couple ways to do it. Or there's like your, there's like your ways to go about it where maybe you wait till, I know that mono blue plays the Thrilling Discovery, so maybe they'll cast that and they'll be tapped out, and then you can respond with an instant as well. You know what I mean? So maybe you want to wait and see. I think it's all about, kind of like we said with whenever that annoying Jun combo was a thing, it's like, well, when do I, you know what I mean? When do I kill this? How do I deal with that? And a lot of it was just waiting for your opening or waiting for your opportunity, and just kind of being patient and seeing at some point they'll get tapped out, or you'll see based on priority passing back and forth that maybe they don't have a counter, and this is your chance. I think it's all about finding your opportunity, and I think your opportunity can be later on, it could be early, it could be, you know what I mean? A lot of that comes down to on the play versus on the draw. On the draw, maybe I'm more reactive to a mono blue deck. On the play, well, if I get 2 mana and you only have 1, then I feel comfortable dropping a creature now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'll drop my creature that, can start to get on you. I'll drop my underdog, which, gonna smack you for 3 every time. Then I force you to deal with it. I force you to spend mana, and that's like an early opportunity. But then when you're on the draw, okay, well, they play their Jin and they only have 1 mana up. All right, so you do your cut down on the Jin that just gets on the board, and then they counter it. Okay, well, I have 3 mana up, so I also have Infernal Grasp. You're tapped out, you can't counter it. Yeah, I had to use 2 cards, but your Jin's off the board. I'm cutting off your value. So I think it's about finding your opportunity. I think it can be, it's variable, and I think that like there are correct approaches, but like, yeah, I mean, kind of like Jay said, there are times where you want to be reactive to them,
Yeah, absolutely. One deck I'm seeing some weird success with recently is Esper Legends. Have y'all seen this? Where it's like Ratadabric.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Ratadabric, yeah.
That's Esper. I mean, Esper's always viable.
You can do it with Esper or Orzhov too. Either one are like are sweet lists, But like having Rafine in there is just, having access to Rafine is just crazy. Ridiculous.
By the way, I looked it up, and there is a card in there in the Necron's deck that's going for $19 right now.
Oh,
okay, yeah. I had the list up. If you look at the Goldfish, has that. If you were to buy all the singles, has that at $123.
Yeah, that's about what it is. There's a few of them that are $5 or $6, and there's one that's about peaking at 20.
So it looks like even if you bought it from the scalper, you're still getting value out of it, which is kind of crazy.
Which is crazy. So I bought mine for $54, I think. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, so it's good value.
Good value.
I definitely like that.
Well, we are just about at the end of our time, and I want to give an outro for everyone because I had a blast. I think this went swimmingly well.
It's good talking with you guys.
Absolutely.
Good fun.
Yeah. Max Damage, where can everyone find you? Tell us.
So I primarily stream Magic the Gathering Arena on Fridays and Saturday nights for Friday Night Magic, which is 8 o'clock Eastern on Twitch, and Saturday Night Damage, which is 9 o'clock Eastern on Twitch. And Friday's like my ladder climb. Saturday night is my deck building, where I focus on a couple of different decks. And then Sunday I do a little variety streaming in the afternoons. And then I also have a YouTube channel that I've been focusing on lately, trying to get to 100 subs. But we'll post like our best performed deck list from that week every week on that channel. But that's also Max Damage All Nines on YouTube.
Max Damage All Nines on YouTube. All right, and we'll put all your socials there in the description, and then probably in the pinned comment as well. We're glad to have you on. We'd love to make you an official member of the Black Council. We'll give you access to our Discord too, in case you want to come by and chat with everyone. I think probably people they might have more questions for you, or after seeing the patrons might want to talk to you personally and just say, hey, what's up? What about this? What about that? If I do that, so we'll throw you in. We'll throw you an invite to the Discord as an official Black Council member. Of course,
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Numbskull, we can always find you at twitch.tv/num_skull_.
Exactly. I also have a YouTube. I know Jay commented on my upload yesterday.
Yeah.
I started putting my Twitch VODs on YouTube, so I made it so that my name on there is just Numbskull MTG. So if you just search Numbskull MTG on YouTube, you'll find me.
Yeah.
No underscores, just straight up Numbskull MTG. I'm trying to just get a little bit more on there. Even if I don't get a crazy amount of subscribers, I just kind of wanted to have another place where people could watch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you guys want to go on there, you can. I'm going to start uploading Twitch VODs where I think it was like a good stream. I might not upload every VOD, but like at least the ones where it was like, it seemed like it was a good, like some good matches, or maybe we did something different that night. You know what I mean? I'm going to start uploading those VODs as I see fit. And then eventually, once I get my act together, we'll put some deck videos up.
All right. Sounds awesome. I'm also on YouTube, which I consider myself more YouTube than Twitch, to be honest. I am JVillain Games, or you can my new Twitch has a handle. They have an @ now. It's actually @ThatVillainJ. Yeah, YouTube has a handle now.
Does it default, or do you have to set it?
It defaults to whatever you set your channel name as, but you can set it. It gives you a chance to change it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to find me on YouTube @ThatVillainJ or JVillain Games, or you can just type JVillain MTG in Google and it pops up.
I know. I type ThatVillainJ, it just pops up. Or
it usually pops right up. And I'm at twitch.tv/ThatVillainJ, ThatVillainJ on Twitter. I just got a Twitter. I'm back at it. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I sure did it. We're all there. Of course, we have each one of us has our own Discord. And if you want exclusive access to the Black Council Discord, which is the Patreon-only Discord, as little as $1 a month, you can submit to the Patreon. And I think our next Patreon goal is going to be, we're going to run a Black Council tournament. If we get, we'll set a goal, and we'll probably run a tourney for the council members. And maybe we'll film it, we'll show it out, and maybe we'll do something else. But I like we got to get on that, guys. The idea of doing the underground, the punk magic, the rebel magic, man. We're going to do some small streamer stuff and some small creator stuff, because otherwise we ain't getting no love. So,
yeah.
We'll
widen our piece of the pie.
20? Yeah.
I think if we get to 20, we'll probably get enough to do a bracket tournament. At least we'll have 16 at the very least. And we could do a Grand Prix. 16
of those 20 would do it. And
including us or whoever we want to throw in, and we could do a Grand Prix.
Yeah, sure.
So,
maybe if we have other guests by then, if we're going to add the guests to the council each time, then maybe the past guests that we've had could join the tournaments as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll throw out invites too.
Obviously, we want to have Max on there. Yeah. I know Max would want to do it. So, yeah, we'll get in there. We'll see what's going on.
Absolutely. So that's going to be our next Patreon goal. Check out those links. Check us all out. There's so much Magic content to go around. We couldn't even fill up a whole day, all three of us, if we tried. So there's plenty of people, like Numbskull just says, so much of the pie. You can't take a bigger piece. You got to make the pie bigger. That's the trick.
I like that.
Yeah, everyone always wants to get a bigger piece. Nah, man, make the pie bigger. So with that being said, I'm going to call this meeting of the Black Council to a close. I've been JVillain. You've been great. And we'll see you all guys another time. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys. Peace out.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.